is the National Committee of the Garifuna Education, who is the representation of all the Garifuna communities, teachers from all the communities, who we are working now in the process of bilingual education, but not only in the teaching language. We're in the process of building the new UGI, the project of UGI, who is the Universidad Garifuna Intercultural, how we can approach a new way of education under our values, under our philosophy, under our history, not only teaching the language, not a concept of moral values or philosophy of Garifuna people. Then we are working on this process with a group of teachers, but with a group of Garifuna academic young fellows who work in the process of how we can consolidate the project to build a new university who can approach the reality of our people. This is part of a struggle. Then today, I arrived at 4 o'clock in the morning here. Then we work about 6 again to go to the meeting with the teachers today and finish and try to be free to share with you this afternoon. Then a lot of things are happening in the Garifuna communities and the Garifuna nation in Honduras, another part. But I would like to, maybe I can share with you to understand the Garifuna communities in Honduras. We have to know a little bit about history. You know, we are in front of the third exile in Honduras. And our brothers are always talk about that. Then you will listen when you go and meet with people in the community. They will talk that we are in front of the third exile. Why do we say the third exile? Because we were taken from Africa to St. Vincent. And in 1797, we were taken from St. Vincent to Honduras. And now we don't know what their plan now, where they're going to take us. They don't have another land to take us. That's why we recognize that we don't have nowhere to go. Then we have to fight here and see what we have to do. Then the Garifuna culture, who is very rich, even was declared by the United Nations in 2001 as a heritage of humanity. But now we want to see this richness in culture not only to dance or sing. We want to use this strength in culture to educate people politically, to educate people in healthcare. Because the reality has been showing us that many of the programs that has been coming even in the traditional university and the traditional way how to approach healthcare is not really, getting the deep, I don't know how to say, el centro de la conciencia, no?
To raise the consciousness?
Yeah, in our people. Then we have now one of the very valuable things in this struggle that we have a lot of young people. And we have a group of professional people. Many of them have been finishing their PhD, master's degree, the bachelor, who are now involved in the process of the struggle to work with the people on the grassroots, many other levels of the struggle. Then we have now people discussing the process, how we can go scientifically and the more high level, discussing the process, how to build the universities. But we have people discussing the process, how to continue the cultivation of the land, producing food for people. Maybe you will have the time to visit Faya Vallecito, who is one of our projects where many of the women produce cassava to send out of the country, produce coconut oil and coconut water and many others products that they are producing there. Demonstrating, you can see, you will see Vallecito, who is a small space in the middle of all the plantation of Miguel Facuse Barhum. That's one of the projects where one of our biggest leaders, Lombardo Lacayo Sangula, started many years ago. He was engineer and he has his bachelor in maths at the university. He was teaching at the university. He left the university and returned back to Limon how to rescue the land for Garifuna people. Then he started the struggle to rescue that piece of land. And we have been facing many problems there. You have been listening many about the problem of Campesino and the Aguan, but the struggle with Miguel Facuse started in Vallecito, Limon. One of the people who was taken over to fight against Miguel Facuse, it was Lombardo Lacayo Zambula, and who died in the earliest 38 years old for a brain cancer about 4 years ago. But he was the leader of this struggle. Before, the people was talking before about Miguel Facuse were home. Lombardo Lacayo Zambula take the fight to the international level against him because he recognized what was the dangerous of that man, what was the deadly representation what he has for our people in our country, in our area. Then his history will tell you many Garifuna brother who has been killing in Vallecito too. We don't listen too much about that. But Euquerio, who was one of our leaders, he was killed there by 45 machetes. Hernan was killed there by like 7 shoots. And many other brothers who lost their life in the process of defending the land. Because
No, shots.
shots.
¿En qué época?
En los 90s.
In the 90s.
Yeah, the 90s. But for us as the Garifuna people, the land represents our mother. And now we are facing many biggest problems with all those land owners that they're taking. We don't have more space to plant the food. Then you can see the impact of that. We can see it very well in the process, in the healthcare of the community. Years ago, you couldn't have access to see desnutrition in the Garifuna community. And now you can face it because people don't have even place to cultivate the food now. Because many of the land has been taken by biggest land owner to cultivate palm oil, which is most of the biggest problem. You will find the palm oil. If you travel, you will have the opportunity to reach to the hospital, but you can travel hours and hours in the middle of the palm oil to take many of the diseases are in the area, malaria, dengue, and leishmaniasis, of other diseases. Many of the people who are living in the area are facing this, and who has bad condition of living, but even they don't have access to the healthcare. Even many of them, we treat them for free at the hospital, in the Garifuna hospital. Then to understand that, then we have to understand a little bit the spirit of the Garifuna people who was taken from San Vincent. In San Vincent, there was two group of people living. It was Red Caribs, original from San Vincent, who was mixed with Arabac, who came from the Orinoco's in Venezuela. And from that mix between Arabac and Caribs become a group of people we call Amerindians in history. Those Amerindians, it was mixed with people who came from Africa. History used to say that there was 5 big boats who stopped in front of the island of San Vincent to interchange many men and women who was taken from Africa for slavery. Then they killed the slave master and liberate 5 boats and run away to the island of San Vincent and build in the mountain of San Vincent a big community of Cimarron. And this big community of Cimarron mixed with Amerindian people.
Cimarrones are escaped slaves.
But the difference in Garifuna people, that there was brothers who was taken from Africa for slavery, but they never become slaves. And they mix with Amerindian and become the Garifuna society with this spirit of freedom. Then we find after years, the newborn Garifuna in San Vincent, then British was thinking how to re-enslave the black people who was born in San Vincent. Then there was a war between Garifuna people and British who was, the war was led by the chief Joseph Satuye in the island of San Vincent, who fight against the British for 10 years. Honduran history didn't talk about that. You can find it in Argentina and many of the books, and even in England. Most of our brothers who went to study history, who is part of our team now, have been doing investigation of the process of the war between Garifuna and British. Then Joseph Satuye killed the General John Williams and the battles of Urumay, and was one of the more biggest war in the Garifuna history. And we are very proud of this action of our ancestors to defend the life and defend the land and defend what we have until now. Then in 1795, the British invited Joseph Satuye to sign the agreements of peace. Then in the middle of the meeting, they killed the chief Joseph Satuye, and they started to capture Garifuna, who was in a war. Then they captured 4,825 people. They take it to the desert island in the north of San Vincent, we call Baliso. Baliso, it was like a jail of the British, open jails. In Baliso, they killed like a half of those people. We are talking about 2,000 and more people what they killed in Baliso. Some of them killing by gun, some of them killing by disease, and many others. And they took the half of those people, 2,000 of them, put it in the boats and drop it in the islands of Roatan. When we arrived to Honduras, 12th of April, 1797, then 214 years ago. As you see, it was not in the process of tourism. It was in the process of the battle of life, fighting for our freedom.
Were some left in St. Vincent?
Yes, some of them, many of them was left. Compa, llámale a Kenia que salga, por favor. Y traes una silla, trae las dos sillas. Some of them were left in San Vincent, and many of them who were left in San Vincent has to lose their language. Yeah, they were submitted by British, and now they speak Garifuna. But San Vincent have been doing a great work of rescue history with Garifuna people in Honduras. And now they have even a place, a museum of many other people who have been... ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué está haciendo? Okay. Many others brothers who have been traveling from San Vicente to here to learn Garifuna and different other things. This is the Engineer Raul, who is part of our team too, part of the resistance, but part of our teams here. Then some of them were left there, and more than 2,000 arrived to Roatan, Honduras, on 12th of April, 1797. It was a Wednesday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Like directly in the history. But after that, many of them started to build canoe to return back to fight in San Vincent. Then they was taken by the sea to the mainland. They arrived to Trujillo. That's why Trujillo has a big representation for us. The first village was founded in Honduras and the mainland after the island of Roatan. It was the community of Trujillo, Cristales and Rio Negro. That's why they has big representation for us. And that's why we are trying liberating the fight against those people who came from outside now, taking over all the lands in Trujillo. Then from Trujillo, they start to build the Garifuna communities. Then as you see, you can find 46 Garifuna communities, all of them located in the coast. Before, we were accused in Honduras that we were located in the coast because we were waiting for Christopher Columbus. And we were smelling like a fish. But now, we don't have even a space to live. Because now they see the importance they see the really importance of the beach. Then now they want to take out our people from